Good morning, everybody that's in here this morning. We are on week 2 of 10, and week 2 of 10 is unlocking our potential, becoming the me we've always dreamed of. I got to write that on there. Week 2 of unlocking our potential. There you go. Unlocking potential. So we are on week 2. I forgot to write that up there. That this 10 week. Good morning, farm girl. I'm glad that you're in here. So we're talking about week 2 on a 10 week course I'm doing here on TikTok. And last week I was cut short a little bit on Friday because of my potential that I had too much work, right? Which is okay. Um, so week 10 is going to be how many weeks it is. Let me get started here. So today we're going to talk about identifying fears and our limiting beliefs. It means that the topic is overcoming barriers. And this is something that I can talk a lot about. In my life, like anybody's life, I've had a lot of barriers. I had a lot of things that I had to overcome. Good morning, Brian. And one of the things that we have to overcome is limited beliefs that we have, limited beliefs. In your life, maybe it could have started in childhood at one time or another. I can't ask that because you think you know what someone's going to say. You think you know how someone's going to react. You think you know the outcome of something before you even give it a try. And that's what a limited belief is. And this is what keeps you impeded from moving through some of your fears. Today's going to be all about unlocking some of your fears, identifying your fears, identifying limited beliefs, and overcoming barriers. And it's really simple, these barriers are. Because I want you to think about times where you say, I can't, or I not able to do that, or using the words that never happens. These are key words. And when you self-reflect and you write things down about what's not going right, things that you want to happen, and you're using some of those words in there. Good morning, Alicia. So good to see you. Alicia, we're on the second week of unlocking our potential and becoming the person that we've always dreamed of being. We're on week 2, and we are talking about identifying fears and limiting beliefs. This is a great place to start with that because it's our limited beliefs that we have, which are beliefs that we have that we've never really studied and put time into. They're just beliefs that we have. And ever since we were kids, whether ask our parents or teachers or permission for something to do something, we believe that we know the answer to things. We believe that we're already setting ourselves up for failure. You know, in my life, being 56 years old, there's been so many times in my life where I had failures, what I thought were failures, but those were just little breadcrumbs, just that were looking back now that led me to where I am today. So my failures really built up into one big success, helping me realize that my failures are what I needed in my life because I just wasn't ready at that time. But when we want to put brain activity, constant effort into uh, building our potential and unlocking who we are, there's some things that we're going to need to know. And so I wrote down just some key things today about identifying your fears, recognizing limited beliefs, and whether our fears are real or imagined, and how our beliefs actually shape our reality. We're going to talk about reframing our mindset, and we're going to take action despite fear. And that's where it is. All of them are alignments, exactly. All of these are things that are going to align us. And we're going to use tools that we've talked about in these morning sessions that we've had for the last 6 months, 8 months, however long that we do that. And we know that journaling writing down patterns and recognizing things are the tools that we're going to use. So I hope that this board that I have here is going to recognize limited beliefs. I'm going to try to get this board up to where we can see it. And we're going to talk about some of these things right here. So we're going to recognize limited beliefs. So these are false beliefs that hold us back. I've been through all of these in my life. So we know that to recognize false beliefs that hold us back, first one is going to be the self-reflection. And we know that journaling, writing things down in your thoughts regularly to uncover patterns and paying attention to reoccurring themes into our lives. That's the key, is paying attention to it, especially the themes that seem like negative talk or that are self-critical. And when we're doing that, we're checking in emotionally. And then we know, and we were trying to recognize how we feel in different situations when we're doing our self-reflection here. And the feelings of anxiety, inadequacy, these indicate underlying limited beliefs when we're doing our self-reflection. Most importantly, when we're not self-reflecting or journaling, we're always talking to ourselves sometimes. We're always telling ourselves some things. So we want to monitor your internal dialogue, your regular thoughts every day. How do you talk to yourself? Are you using things like I can't or I'm not good enough? Does that come up frequently in your regular thoughts? So you want to also identify the absolutes. Look for extreme language such as always or never, which often suggest limited beliefs. When you talk to something like that always happens, this never happens. These are things that are tied to some type of limited belief that's in your life. And then on top of that, consider your reactions. Okay, consider your reactions. These are trigger events. Reflect on situations that provoke your emotions, your emotional response. And then ask yourself why you react that way and what belief is underneath that reaction. So these are fear responses. So if you find yourself avoiding certain situations, explore what belief is causing that fear. That's what we want to expose through our reflection, through our self-talk, going into considering our reactions. And then you can seek feedback too. Ask trusted people that know you're on a journey, those that are in your life that you can talk to. And share your thoughts with a friend or a mentor and ask for their perspective on your beliefs. They sometimes will see patterns that you don't, especially if you've worked with somebody for a long time, you've shared family things and all that. When when you're asking for feedback, honestly, to a friend, be ready for it. Because sometimes you might have one that is going to tell you that you avoid certain situations. And then you're going to explore the belief that's causing fears. So that's when we're seeking the feedback. We're going to ask people. And you can also get professional guidance. Consider consulting a therapist, a coach who specializes in these types of things. And then question your beliefs. Question the beliefs of why you believe that. When you're challenging challenging whether a belief is valid or not, you want to ask yourself, what evidence do I have to support that belief? Is there evidence that contradicts it? What would I tell a friend if they express this belief? So if someone else believed what you believed, how do you react when you're looking at from a different party? And then notice your patterns. You want to have life audits and patterns in your life. Patterns like, for example, if you've never gone out for a job that might have increased or something that might have made you better and you just didn't feel like you deserved it. These are all things to unlock our potential in life and to become what you dream of. And recognizing that your path to getting there is mental. Your path to getting to where you want to be on a certain level is little steps at a time. And this course here will help you with that. It won't do it for you, but it's going to help you recognize some of the thought patterns in your head that create your reality. So if My leg always hurts, and I tell myself it hurts every day, it's going to continue to hurt longer. But if I say it's getting better every day, then it's going to get better. And you're going to recognize that. You're going to recognize that your thought pattern and how you feel about yourself is going to matter, because you want to bring all of your guidance within. Some of us have, I don't know if anybody reads any thoughts on where Carl Jung talked about the afternoon in life, where some people just observe, but then they finally become who they are. They're done with looking out, and they're done with judging, and they finally just bring in to themselves a piece of what they need. And sometimes what we need is we need peace in our mind, and we want to give ourselves love, and we want to accept ourselves. And it's a gradual process in life to wake up and look forward to just living. Instead of doing what society expects, or climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall once you get to the top and finding yourself empty inside, investigating who you are and doing what you like, living the life that you want to live, becoming who you want to be, is what life is. And if you want to have a goal in life, make that goal to live a peaceful, fulfilling life that's always on the course to personal growth. And this takes work. This takes identifying our fears, recognizing them. It takes overcoming, getting rid of the self-doubt in our life, and really truly reflecting on who we are. Personal growth through conscious effort is a daily thing. It's not the end result. It's something that we practice on a daily basis. As you tell yourself, today, I'm going to put conscious effort into how I feel about myself, into my writing, into my reactions on things, especially the ones that bring out some anxiety, or I don't belong here, or I don't fit here. And sometimes we get into a life, and I know that a lot of people, you read into this, it's like you're supposed to fit into somewhere. So and if you feel like you just never really fit into something, that you just have, this is what you're supposed to do. People will get married young, they have kids young, this, that. Then they find themselves empty. There's divorces, things happen, things split you apart from that. To become your authentic self, you need to find the breadcrumbs from all your failures. You need to investigate all of those, because they all are going to tell you the story of where you belong. And it's not a uniform built by society. It's something that fits your soul. It's something that guides you and gives you comfort. It's the nudge that you get when you feel like you should be doing something else, when you're watching TV, or when you're just fed up with an old habit, or you just had enough of something, where you're outgrowing things, where you're growing. As we're growing, we start to feel out of place, and that's a good thing. But it's a bad thing if we're not self-reflecting from where this growth comes from. We all want peace in our life. We all want a piece of what we think is out there to make us happier. But we already have it. It's already within us. And this is where the reflection needs to be brought within ourselves. Where we reflect on ourselves and our reactions. How we react when we hear something good. How we react when we hear something bad. And then especially how we think we know the answer that we've never asked the question to. We just assume. This is what our minds do. Our minds think that they know. And way deep down inside us, there's a subconscious that tells us, don't do that, be afraid of this, stay away from that. Nobody in your life has done that. And why is that? Well, because the most empowering perspectives that you have are in your subconscious, and that's what's triggering your regular thinking every day. That's what's giving you your reality. When you change the reality that I am good, when we change our negative self-talk, when we actually write down and journal things every day of what and who we want to become, slowly over time that begins to happen. Slowly over time that begins to happen, because you'll catch on through repetition, and that's what changes us. So in life, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing that you can be afraid of, especially when it comes to trying to put effort into it. And the failures are going to be a big process of your success. It's actually something that's going to be caused by the new repetitive thinking that you have, by identifying your fears, knowing where they come from, realizing that all your beliefs are limited. And a limited belief is some belief that we have that we really just believe it, even though there's no real evidence that that is true. And it really impedes our growth. It impedes our growth in the way that we just keep it back there. We're going to stay away from that. We're going to stay away because somehow we already think that we know that this isn't going to be good for us, that this is going to hold us back in life. So when we're overcoming barriers, our common fears, we want to know that the fear of judgment is one of our fears, the fear of change, the fear of being judged, the fear of being laughed at, the fear of, all of these things from the outside. All these things from the outside. You got social media, you got people watching you at work, you got your family, and you're living your life based on their reactions. And that's not good. Do you want to live your life based on yourself and your reaction? You think that's going to hurt somebody? If you think that that's going to upset them, whoopee-doo. They'll come around. It's your comfort spot. If you're out buying a nice piece of furniture that's really comfortable and you're going to bring a stranger with you that you don't know, you're going to bring someone you're related to that you don't know, and somebody from work that you don't know. Okay, now all four of you are going to try your chair, and all of them agree that the chair you want is horrible. Are you just not going to buy it now? Because a stranger said not to, because someone you worked with said not to, and anybody else? Think about that. That chair is your comfort where you're going to sit and be comfortable. So are you going to really let somebody else dictate that or laugh at you, laugh at the color of it, laugh that it doesn't recline? It's just a chair you're comfortable in. See, there's little things where we fit into in life, comfortable like that chair. And we're afraid to be in there because we're afraid what people might say. We're afraid that they're not seeing it, but they don't need to see it. This is you we're talking about. Only you know you. So your comfort level and where you want to be in life, even if your comfort level is being out of a comfort level and walking through a fear, not avoiding it, not going around it, up or down it, or ignoring it, just walk right through it. Buy that chair and enjoy it. So this is where our mindset and developing over this 10-week course is us becoming us becoming who we want to become, and not having the fear of what people say. What you want is to have the comfort of your choice. And when you start choosing your comfort over fears and what people say, man, this is good stuff. Because you can be comfortable in more areas of your life. Comfortable to get out there and try new things. And if this worked on this fear, is it going to work on this one? Yes, it will. It's totally life-changing. It's the greatest thing in the world. Getting what you want without the consideration of others. Because you're the one that's going to deal with it, is what you want in life. And just don't worry about it. The sun's going to rise and the sun is going to set. all around your decisions. And we revolve around it, and it revolves around us. It's in our life. Utilize the things in your life that you like. Squash the fears, do your reflection, and reframe your mindset. And a good mindset is, I am good enough. I'm made just like everybody else, and I deserve happiness, and I deserve my peace of mind. I deserve my piece of the pie. You're here. That's the first step. So the impeding of personal growth through fears and through these beliefs that we have into our life are the things that can really drag us down, things that are going to hold us back. They're going to hold us back from going forward. I'm going to share a personal story. Good morning, Kelly. I hope you're doing well. I'm glad that you're in here. When I had a business, I have one now, and when it was successful, and I had a snake in my life, and they weren't going to renew a long-term lease with me without jacking up the price because they thought that they could do what I wanted to do. So this is I didn't want to sign a lease that was bigger. So I moved on, and that took a lot of fear, and it brought me here. And incidentally, they failed within 6 months. They just thought that it was that easy. But what I did, I changed where I lived geographically. I was away from my son for a while, and I had to reset myself and go out there and find myself. Not with tons of money, moving place where I didn't know anybody. And I had fear, but even though I had fear, I had the freedom to explore that fear, to make the life change. And when I say that people come back, they do. My son came and lived with me eventually after not even a year when he was young. And people need to recognize where it is that you belong. Sometimes when failures and doors close, that is just a sign from the universe of where you belong. Sometimes we are so complacent with life, we don't recognize the signs that it's time for change. And then so we get a hard one. We get one that really fucking hits us. Since we don't recognize the little nudges, we just get a hard one. These are like these life checks of reality. Sometimes it's death, sometimes it's divorce, sometimes it could be a fucking bankruptcy. It's just going to be something big. It's going to make you sit back and you're going to be like, man, how do I deal with this? And there's people that lose a lot in their lives. But what do you gain in your big losses? You gain a different perspective. And it builds resilience in your life. I'm going to have failures in my future. Things are going to go wrong. But, when you relate that like toward the weather, we can be ready with raincoats, umbrellas, and shelter, right? And this is our thoughts that we're going to make it through. We're going to make it through these times of anxiety, the times of losing a job, where it's hard out there. And, sometimes you can be in that situation. You go, that's easy to say, man. You're not the one without the job. You're not the one going through this. I get some messages like, hey, you're optimistically delusional. No, I'm not. I have had a lot of things in my life go wrong. I've had to live with my brother before. I've had to have a lot of things happen, but the step was there when I needed it. I refused a lot of them. And then now in my life, things are reversing, and that has to do with mindset. That has to do with the decisions that you make are creating your tomorrow. When we were talking about our last course of the 12 weeks of not being on autopilot, man, that's the fucking key. You want to wake up with, what do I want to do today? Not what do I have to do? And what you have to do has to be molded into something that you fit into. If you're somebody that has insight and leaning on faith, is nothing stronger than that. You got to have faith. Thanks for throwing that in there. And I have faith. I'm a believer that we're not a casual, meaningless part of evolution. We are created by love. We're going somewhere, so don't fear that. But in the meantime, why not let your soul light up here on earth? To become the you that you dreamed of, to put it together, to overcome some fears, to know that Jesus has your back. And whatever you believe in is going to make you better. So it doesn't have to be a certain type of religion, anything with a belief of higher than you is going to help you stay online with your life and be good. And having that insight, especially through failures, are good. So those that are, hey, this is happening to me, this is too tough, that isn't going to happen, and now I'm beating myself up, we're keeping ourselves low through a thought pattern. Why did this happen to me? When we're focusing on what's going wrong, we're keeping it in our life. When you focus on the problems, when you're focusing on a mountain of debt, when you're focusing on a fix-it problem, when you're focusing on that, then that becomes you. That becomes of you, and that's now what your life is about. When you focus on solutions and resolutions, that I want to make a plan to make this go away, that how do I get this out of my life, then your life turns because you realize I got this. It's not as bad. When you write down on a piece of paper all your problems and read them and just look at them and then just say, my friend just dropped these problems in front of me. He wants me to tell me what I think about his life. You'll look at it differently, different perspective, breaking from limited beliefs, a limited belief that I can't make it through this. That is identifying your fear. That's observing your self-talk. That is showing up and taking action despite fear. You want to change your life? Show up, take action. Overcome the fear. Fear impedes development. Action crushes the impediment. So it's through action, it's through effort. It's purposely going to change my life. I've taken friends out of my life that don't agree with my thought or are so negative that every time you talk to them, they bring negativity in. We meet these people at work. We meet these people everywhere. We meet the people that's going to take the shot at you. Now, these are the people that are probably more fucked up than we are. But the thing is, your thought process of who you're going to be around, who you're going to listen to, who you're going to look at in the eyes and talk to. That's up to you of who you believe. You first got to believe yourself, and you got to feed yourself the knowledge that there's a lot of people out there that are only going to recognize your failures because they themselves are a failure. And you need to pull yourself away and get all of your energy from your heart and from your soul and those that you love. So the process of recognizing, reframing these beliefs start now with right here in your head. Right here in your head. That I am good enough. What's going to go right today? What went right yesterday? What can I do to make a difference to stay consciously available to myself? When you're making yourself consciously available to myself, living in the moment, thinking not too far into the future, not living the past of just right now, I'm going to start fixing things to make myself better. I'm going to have my cup of tea. I am going to get my nap. I am going to spend an afternoon in my house slippers and not do chores. And when we talk about procrastination, remember in our last course, sometimes procrastination in your life is good because it's your body telling you that, hey, just settle down for a minute. You don't need to cut the lawn today. Just settle down for a minute. You can go grocery shopping tomorrow. That equals rest. A rested mind is a mind that's ready for battle. And yeah, life can be a battle. And the biggest battle that we're going to have, the biggest bully we're going to have is inside our fucking head. And this is where these limited beliefs, we need to pay attention to limited beliefs and fears that only exist. Take that critic out of your head and question it. It's just there to impede your growth. And it was necessary years and years ago, and I'm talking hundreds of thousands of years ago, for survival. We're always scanning from fear. We don't have to be afraid of what we once were afraid of. This is how our mind is built. We are built on our failures. And if you're focusing on those failures and not realizing that they're leading you to bigger things through faith and through knowledge and through conscious effort, then you need to journal. You need to reflect. We need to talk about right here of recognizing our limited beliefs right here that we have on the board. Self-reflection, self-talk, consider reactions, seek feedback, those you trust, question your beliefs, notice patterns over time. Do you know how many people that, like, I'm not going to ask my boss for a day off because he's going to say no? That's a limited belief. You deserve a day off. You deserve time off. And if you have a boss like that, that wouldn't be good. But I'm not going to get into bosses today. I want you to consider your reactions towards your life, considering where your fears are. I want you to break out and break from the barriers and break yourself free through faith, through journaling, through self-reflection, to look at yourself to become the you that you belong, and be strong and serious about it. When you wake up in the morning, don't have doom. Your day is going to go the way it starts, but you can change right now at this moment. You know what? I got off on the wrong foot, but I realize that. And I need to stop doing that. I need to stop bitching about this person at work. I need to stop saying the word I don't like. I need to stop saying the words I can't stand when. Try to replace negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Find something about somebody you don't like that you do like about them. How about they're human? That they're a brother and a sister, and they're carrying a cross too. They're carrying some weight. You ever heard from somebody you didn't care that much about some of the weight they carried, and they just changed your whole perspective on them? Because we're ready to judge. We're ready to judge, but when we're looking at somebody and we see sometimes what we don't like about them, that is a problem with us, not with that person. That person, the way that they look, when somebody makes saying about my looks, and I get that a lot, where people will say something about my look. You know, that doesn't bother me, but there's something that's bothering them about, maybe they like my hair. I don't know. Maybe they, I can't be, I have the perfect body, so I know that ain't it. But it's just funny. People will judge one another. And you got to get judgment out of your head. When you see an individual, notice that person's carrying something. They're carrying the weights that you are. And you don't have to agree with anybody politically, but you need to understand perspective and what their perspective is in life. When you have people around you, that's your community. And when you're thinking good about them, that means you're thinking good about yourself. When you see somebody and you're judging them because of their creed, religion, their skin or something, then you got a problem with yourself. I don't have friends that used to be okay friends because of that, because they had a problem with anything different. So it's who you're around and what you're believing. Embrace other cultures, embrace other people. And when you start to learn to love yourself, you'll recognize that it doesn't matter who somebody is, whether they're male, female, what their preferences are. It shouldn't have to bother you. I mean, I live outside of Washington, D.C. There's people protesting about just anything you can think of. And they're taking time to try to make change. But change really doesn't happen through our government as we know. It just gets more complex. Change happens in our mind. Our comfort is found in the furniture store. Remember, Now we're shopping alone. If you heard my story earlier today, I was talking about when you want to go buy a new chair, do you take somebody from work? Do you bring other people with you, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, and you find that one comfortable chair and everybody else doesn't like it? And now sometimes in life, we wouldn't do that because we're afraid of what people think, but it's your comfort, it's your life. Live it the way that, like you're eating ice cream. Just indulge. Indulge. And when you're indulging in life, that means that you're mindful in life. That means that you're setting your rules, that you're following the way that you want to live. You're living your life intentionally, not accidentally, not having a bunch of cockadoodle bullshit happening to you because of some dum dum, right? You're living the life. I wake up. What do I want to do today? Well, after work, I want what? And I want a good life. I want to be comfortable. I'd like to read something. I want to learn something. I want to evaluate myself. I want to carry this feeling into the next day and into the next week. And through repetition, you will. You know, athletes just aren't born, they're made. Some people have more athletic ability, but there's great athletes that had no ability. There's people that have with learning disabilities that have solved algebra problems. So there can't be any excuse in life, no matter what your handicap is, to not have a good mind, to feel good about yourself. And our handicaps naturally are our beliefs, they're our self-critic, they're the way we talk to ourselves in the morning, they're what we're complaining about. And then so make the change. Recently, I moved my business out of my back garage, which is actually a large garage, to a place where there's a new office, and I'm turning my old office into a workout room. And what I'm doing that for is because I'm getting older. I need to make different choices of what I eat, what I'm doing, healthy to fit some time in. So these are things, what it is I need now. Our life's always turning a leaf. We have new friends every 5 years. Some of the people in your life now will not be there in 5 years. Not because they're going to die or anything. It's because we change. But yet we care about what they think right now. And they won't even be around in 5 years. Who gives a fuck what other people think? And that is a good mindset to have. And that's within legal speaking and change. You don't want to intimidate. You don't want to harm anybody. And you don't even need to give back replies to the dum-dums. But you're going to unlock your potential by worrying about what you think. That's where power comes from. That's where respect comes from. Because when you're worried more about what you think, guess what? You say less in public settings. You don't need to have your little voice. You don't need to be a little heckler. You listen more. You observe more. And you're examining of where you fit in. You're tailoring your life to fit you. So when you're buying that chair, it shouldn't matter. You should just sink into it and have fun with it. Wear the shoes you want to wear. Be your own stylist. Find things that you like. Fit into your life. Fit into your life. And your personal growth only comes from one place. I don't care what anybody says. And I don't even know if there's science to disprove this. Personal growth comes from conscious effort. It's to consciously be aware that, you know what I'm in the game for? I'm in the game to consciously be aware every day that this is what I got to change. This is where I'm not perfect. This is where I can do better. This is what I got to stop listening to. This is what I got to start listening to. This is what I can't do with my time. This is what I don't want to do with my time. This is what I do want to do with my time. These are all conscious efforts. Do I want to stand and listen to jumble bumble? Do I want to listen to gossip? Do I want to know what other people are up to? No, because it takes your energy away. Conscious effort about me and how I feel. You see somebody, good day, sir. Good day, ma'am. Nice to see you. Good morning. Hi. Be nice. And, behind the scenes sometimes, when I talk and I do these, I'm aggressive toward life. Sometimes I'm aggressive because people don't think the way that I think. And these are all things where I need to settle down. That's when I'm aware that I need some time away because I get fed up with people that don't get it. And that furies me. But then I go back to maybe it's the way I manage, maybe it's the way I do something. That's just where that person is. And then to me, as I realize, I've always had low self-esteem, perfectionist, always trying to please people. And that's where my anger comes from because I recognize that person's not like me because if they were, this would already be done. And that's self-reflection. That's powerful to realize that my anger stems from how I think. My anger stems from what I've done to myself. And it's a it's something that it's a daily practice. It's a daily practice. And my anger was always reflected toward me, not at other people. I can be a professional bitcher. I could probably win a bitching contest if there was ever such one. To complain about just different things and what happened to me, but nobody cares. But I'm starting to care because it's about me, and we want to make our lives about us, not in a narcissistic, selfish way, but in a way to where we're not impeding our growth by being people pleasers, by doing the same shit for people that don't show you the same reaction. And you want to love yourself unconditionally through life. And we know what we need. We know, there you go, Farm Girl, or Alicia, I'm sorry, who we allow access to, who we're accessing ourselves to. And we got to not judge. We can't let somebody else take over our mindset or our life or let what somebody says bother us or make our day bad. Because if it makes your day bad, they're probably right. Sometimes when people are right about what they say, it makes you mad. It makes you uncomfortable because you don't know how to change. And that can turn into a fight and misunderstandings. So consider your reaction, where that reaction comes from. When somebody gives you some feedback, what's your reaction to it? If you're mad, there's a good chance that they might be right, right? So the self-reflection and the journaling and writing down our experiences and how we feel, where's that fear? The fear of somebody finding out that we're not good at something, the fear of not being able to retire one day, the fear of not having enough cash put together for a child's birthday. There's so many fears that could just go on and on and on and on, but they shouldn't exist because the fear that you have that you should be afraid of the most is not understanding your fears and allowing them to impede the growth in your life, allowing your fears to take control of your life. And that would be staying on autopilot to allow something else to stretch your mind beyond repair. And you can get lost. So you want to combat your negative self-talk and reinforce a positive mindset through reminding yourself of your successes and your positive affirmations. Remind yourself that, I'm now living consciously. I'm not going to just let my thoughts wander all day about me, what people think about my job or what people even I manage are doing anymore. Make sure that they're doing their job. They're not going to do it as good as you. Some of us do other people's work because we're that good at our job that we have to do others. So collectively free yourself intentionally from a bad mindset, from a mindset that's not getting you anywhere anymore in life, from a mindset that's automatic where you're triggered. Understand those triggers. Direct yourself and monitor your behavior. Direct yourself and monitor your mindset, and direct and monitor yourself of your thoughts. That's where good living is. That's where peaceful living is. That's what brings you closer to the spirit, and that's what brings you closer to your authentic self and who you should be. When we go out today of our house, maybe you're already out of the house, monitor yourself. Just worry about you. Become the me you've dreamed of. And if you have some dreaming and you write that dreaming down and you put it to action and you put it to plan, now you're living authentically. Now you are doing what you want to do, where you want to be, and it's okay. And it's okay to have fear and it's okay to have anxiety, but it's not okay to not be aware of it and realize that our minds are sometimes like the weather. Just thunderstorms pop up, blue skies pop up, it rains. It's very close to the weather. Being resilient and realizing that sometimes our lows aren't going to last much longer when we're aware of what created them. Because we sometimes think this is financial, or we think that this has to do with family, or this has to do with my relationship. It really would just have to do with you. It would have to do with your mindset and where you belong. And know that you've always forged forward. Grant yourself the reward of some of your successes. Don't think about your failures. I was saying earlier in life, or earlier today in a show, I did some writing the other day when I was thinking that I was such a failure all through parts of my life. These failures were little breadcrumbs, and it led me to where I know that where I need to be, where my life even changed a little bit about what I'm interested in doing. I'm interested more in writing. I'm interested more in doing this little show and podcast. I've engaged with people to help me do that. And I'm not afraid of it. And when you do it, you get all kinds of feedback. You get insults, this, and that. But you realize where that comes from. It comes from other people's fears. And sometimes their fear is going to be a comedy. Sometimes it's going to be a bad reaction. But how does it make you feel? You're always going to be heckled in life. But, the ones that I react to is when I heckle myself in my head, is when my self-critic says, don't do this. You're not good at that. Why did you say this? That doesn't make any sense. But the thing is, overall, we should always give ourselves credit when we're putting effort into something. When you're putting effort and making conscious effort, it's not a home run every day. What it is, it's trying every day. It means that you put effort into it. It means that you're increasing your batting average. And when you do it every day, it starts to become consistent. It starts to be something that becomes part of your life. When you're living consciously, it becomes part of effort. I forgot to check in on my emotions. But when you do every day, you'll never forget. It's like sleeping. It's like walking. And you want to, that's right. You want to build your trust and confidence in yourself. And you're confident that you can do this and trust that you will. I really like that. Thank you. That landed at the right time. So find your ambition and warmth of your own kindness in your heart. So your ambition, your kindness in your heart. I've said this before. Did you ever have somebody visiting? My mother-in-law is coming, right? And she's going to be here, I think, tomorrow for a while. She's the only mom I have on earth. She's a great lady. Her name is Fabiola. And she raised 4 kids with a blue-collar job her whole life. Can you believe that? And she's 90. God bless her. And when you think that your life is so hard or something is so tough, somebody's got it tougher. And she raised all kids with college degrees. One's an actor, one's a therapist, one's an attorney, one's a business professional. That's the one I married. And, you think about that. How hard was that? How much of yourself did you have to give? That's important. in life. So to unlock your potential, you have to think about the hard times that you had, where you made it through, where you would be like, how did that person do that? How did my mom have 11 children and make me feel like I was an only child? My mom and dad were married for 50 years. They had 11 kids. They had 8 boys and 3 girls. I'm number 9 of 11 kids. I have 5 older brothers, 3 older sisters, and 2 younger brothers in my life. And my mom and dad were able to make it on very bad wages. And we ate and went to school and we did a lot of things. So it's not that things get tough or things were easier back then or this is how things used to be. We advance. Humans have advanced in 100 years. And let's just bring this into a lifetime. No matter how old you are, you've advanced in that amount of years. And don't stall. Keep going. Keep going down that road. Keep reminding yourself that you're going to be constantly available to yourself with love and kindness to put a conscious effort to make your life better, to live good. And this is going to be a great 10 weeks that we have. We got 10 weeks of this. This is just week 2 to go through your fears. There's people on TikTok. There's people on YouTube. And there are some people that sometimes they have somebody say one thing to them, they give up. That's a test of your resilience. Stay resilient. Do what you want to. I'll tell you, when you're silent about insults, then you're a very comfortable person. Remind yourself that we're going to nick this out. We're going to take control of our lives. As we get into next week, we're going to be setting some intentional goals where I'm going to help you with some framework and some mind work. So you want to do some screenshots of something that you can read and do every day before and after bed, just quickly on your phone. And it's going to help you because it'll be repetitive. So the details of the real you, the details of your soul to self-reflect is going to be found through writing. And it's going to be found right here through your self-reflection. You're observing your self-talk, considering your reactions, seeking feedback, question your beliefs, and notice patterns in over time. And your fears are impeding your development. But if we're here for a reason to grow, then our mind is perfectly engineered because nobody is born with that, right? It's something that we learn. And when you get to start laughing about some of your experiences, then you're getting there, right? When some things make you laugh, find the humor in life today. If the sun's out where you are, feel some of it on your skin. If you have a good place to hang out and you have a furry friend, go hang out with them. Give yourself the time and patience to grow intentionally and to grow in a healthy way. But most importantly, be consciously aware that that is what your road is. Be consciously aware and live life today. Don't just drink that Starbucks really quick or bust down that sandwich. Enjoy your lunch. Enjoy your coffee. Enjoy your ride to work. Don't get anxiety about traffic. Enjoy it. You got to intentionally remind yourself. When you're in line for something, enjoy that moment and think about ways to talk nicer to yourself. When somebody is bothering you, realize that they too are living life, right? And there's 8 billion people in the world, something like that. So there's 8 billion different ways to live. But the one way that you can choose to live is to Live by your book. Live by the rules. My secrets, tell you my secrets. My secrets are just journaling and coming in here, staying consciously effort. And I fail a lot. It's not my final destination every day, but I pull myself back up by realizing I need to put conscious effort into behaving, into not getting upset, into realizing that other people, you don't judge them, you don't hate, you indulge in your life and live authentically, live the way that you want to. I'm going to be doing some traveling here in the next couple of weeks, but I'm bringing this with me. I'm doing some traveling because I need to get away. So, limited belief, self doubt, negative self talk, you got to overcome that. You got to take that little, if you had this little critic in your head and you could take him out and question him, this guy's got no facts, but yet he lives up here for free. The most expensive real estate in the world is your mind. So, if you want to pay rent, then have it. Be consciously aware of what your mind's saying and thinking. Steer away from the bad thoughts. Steer away from bad people. Steer away from bad ideas. Steer away from what doesn't give you personal growth. If everything that you do is just adding light to your soul, and be comfortable. Pick the chair out that nobody likes but you. Wear the clothes that nobody likes but you. Wear your hair the way you like to wear it. Say the things that you want to say kindly. Listen to those who deserve an ear. And do for those that are willing to do for you. Couple of new rules, couple of new boundaries that we need in life. Who are you going to tolerate? Once you tolerate yourself, and if you bring love into yourself, it overflows to the right people. The universe will set you up. I guarantee it. And you will realize that your way that you think is making your life. What you're seeking is seeking you. The only thing that's impeding the meeting is your thought process. Life's going to grow. Life's going to get better. Life is a series of wins and a series of losses. And what you seek is seeking you. You can make yourself better just through thought. Just through thought. So seek feedback mainly from yourself. Find out what you're about. Not just you, but others will notice a big difference in your life if you repeat being consciously aware of the way that you're living, of what you're saying, and where you're applying your energy to. And make sure that 99.9% of it is to right here. You only need a billionth of a percent to give to somebody else if you're really full of love. So, we got this breakdown of this course. And, Fridays are always better. And I apologize about last Friday. A few of you were in here where I had to cut short. So, but that was the introduction to this, right? So this Friday is going to be good because I have some new ideas. And I'm going to write down some brackets and some ways for us to overcome our barriers. And as we get into next week, I'm going to show you the power of goal setting. And I'm going to tell you a quick story before I get off. The power of the goal setting was something that I pulled out of my journal in 2020 when I got sick of doing anything residential and being a people pleaser. And it transformed in the next 72 months into a very successful commercial building company that since then has a new warehouse, new offices, employees and people. And I did that just mentally. And how I did it mentally is I started to change beliefs and reward myself for my knowledge. Nobody can be you better than you. And don't let what other people say be part of how you live your life. Your ingredients have to be your thoughts, your actions, your temperament, your emotions. These are all your ingredients, okay? And it's up to you. You have to be consciously aware of it. You're constantly cooking a stew in life. You're constantly cooking a stew. Is this going to taste good in my life? Is this going to be what I need? You know, nobody else does. People think they know, but they don't. So, happy Tuesday. And I can't wait to tell the same people that come in here all the time, happy Friday on Friday. Today, be good to yourself, identify who you are, and put conscious effort into enjoying your life today. Enjoy it. You're here to enjoy. Don't turn it into a bunch of wobble bomble stuff. Thank you, Farm Girl, Alicia, Brian, and anybody that I don't mention when you come in here. I'm sorry. I'm more of a babbler than a reader here, and I just want you to know you're important to me. And everybody have a great day today. Thank you so much for being here.